This Planet Coaster Park you're looking at actually saved my YouTube channel and changed my life. In order to understand this, we need to go back exactly 6 years, to the year 2018. It was the beginning of August where we did the last preparations for our upcoming marriage. During this time, I really thought a lot about my YouTube channel and how to continue. And I took the decision to not continue at all. As the best day of my life passed by and we were going to honeymoon, things started to change. But before I can talk about the change, I have to admit my channel was almost deleted at that time. The only reason why this didn't happen was because of the lack of time during the wedding preparations. And I already recorded a goodbye video and I was planning how to end the channel. Things turned out differently though, because we were going to the wonderful island of Kauai, which is one of the islands of Hawaii, and we spent a wonderful honeymoon over there, and my brain started to pick up a couple of ideas. And as we flew back, the idea of Isla Napali was born, which is exactly the park we are talking about today. So let's go on a journey how Isla Napali changed my life and saved this YouTube channel from being deleted 6 years ago. And where to better start this tour at the very beginning on the landing area of our small harbor. Just a bit of trivia for those of you who don't know this park. This idea that came to my mind during the honeymoon is based off of a small island just before Kauai. It's a very unknown one, a very smallish one, and the idea was to turn that old fisherman's alley, valley, however you call that little village, into a theme park. So the base idea is that a rich person kind of bought the island and then built a theme park upon that one, but also over time he figured out that a theme park is a lot more expensive than they thought. So it's not really the most expensive theme park in the world, but also it just went through a couple of storylines that we're going to talk about. But also this tour is not going to be like a proper tour. As always, we are going to have steps in here, and I'm going to show you some areas to make it very snackable for you, and also to avoid the utter autosave that is very random in Planet Coaster, for those of you who still remember. So yeah, this is the literal entrance, and since you're all very excited, I believe, about the storyline, let's just begin with a bit of a trivia and, reasoning to why I decided to do this. So for those of you who have been back here on the channel, they know that the launch of this very park over here, this very project, was simultaneously the end of all my other series. I decided to take a huge step and basically end every single project on the channel I had running, and trust me, I had a lot of other projects running, but I thought, I had to refocus, and this park over here was a huge refocus. By the way, these cliffs over here, as you can tell, are pretty much based off of the Napali coast. As I said already in this video, it is potentially the most beautiful place I've ever been to in my life. But yeah, this is the entrance area, and you can see it's not like a typical theme park. We have like some old fishermen's huts over here. We can also see like there's a lot of Easter eggs throughout the park. For those of you who've been with me, try to find them all, and for those of you who haven't been here, try to catch some of those. Maybe you can still see them, because some of the jokes and some of the stuff has survived even into the Planet Zoo days. This is one of the best coasters in this entire park on this old harbor area. But you can see like we also have like a backstage area. It's very realistic, and also it was the beginning of the TMTK, or the Theme Makers Toolkit, and I think we need to talk about that later on, because that may actually become relevant for Planet Zoo very soon-ish too. This was towards the very end of support of Planet Coaster. So for those of you who are worrying about the end of Planet Zoo, trust me, there is still potential for me to start a completely groundbreaking new project at the end of a lifespan of a game. So we are entering now Isan Napali, and this is like also, architecturally based off of what I've seen on Isan Napali, well, actually on Kauai, I should say, and Maui. There's like a lot of Asian influence here, but then you also have the typical Hawaiian influence, a bit of American influence too, obviously, and everything mixed together. And I still look at all these little Planet Coaster details in the pieces. I forgot how cool that was. That's just such a trip to nostalgia. There's a backstage area where all the janitors come from. It's a very crowded place here. This is the entrance area. There is the building from Aston Wolf, and he was also contributing to the park, just as Sylph was. This dive coaster here in the back is made by Sylph, but more about that once we are there. So this is the entrance area, and we must take the moment to look over here. As you can tell, and for those of you who play Planet Zoo, this may actually be a little bit of a shock to you, because there are actually wheelchairs and strollers. Unfortunately, they are not usable. These are tool makers, theme makers toolkits, that's the word, it is, items. They are not functioning, but you can literally create everything in 3D what you want. Those two have been made by me. Actually, I made them myself, turned them into a 3D object and imported them into the game. You can download these assets via the Steam Workshop. And this was also a bit of a change because I finally could do these things. It just made me aware of the fact that this could be a good point to change things in my channel, on my channel, and so I did. And maybe we will be seeing this wonderful toolkit for Planet Zoo 2 as soon as the support is ended, because literally the Team TK was brought to the game with the latest update to the game, the Ghostbusters DLC. So yeah, there are huge chances, but I think for us we should actually skip to one more thing to continue our little story about Isla Napali and why it actually changed my YouTube channel. The next bit will be a first hint before I actually get to the core reason why I have chosen this project and why I've chosen 6 years later, because there's a bit of a reason why I'm doing this video right now. We are talking about this at the very end of this video. So if you're interested to why exactly at the moment, you better stick with me. Also, you can see there's like a fallen over lamp, just as I said, like a lot of these little Easter eggs, imperfections throughout the entire park, and I'm so curious to see what you guys are telling me in the comments. Please let me also know for who of you has already been here with Isla Napali, maybe who joined the channel during Napali, and why it wasn't an initial success kickoff, but it turned out to be a huge success later on. Now, this part of the video is called the community. I kind of lost touch with the community before I was starting Isla Napali, and this very billboard over here is one of the examples what we've done in here. So we also did this on a couple of live streams, and we had a couple of people contributing to the park, just as Lucas Brown, the Minister of Vibration, did, and he had like one very neat introduction with this billboard. Come visit Isla Napali, our volcano doesn't erupt that often. I made a little, you know, giveaway. I thought I gave away some DLC codes. I'm not entirely sure what exactly we did back then, but the contest was to create some billboard ideas for this park, to do some advertising, some snarky advertising, because for those of you who don't know, I actually work in an advertising agency, and I used to work in one back then. It's not the same anymore, but I used to work in an advertising agency back then already, so that was a little bit of a snarky connection to my real life me. But as we move over, just running a little over here, you can see there are even more. I'm gonna show a couple of those. This one over here is from Haya Sushi. Charles Shoke, the master of ricey sushi dishes. He brought in this wonderful text. Hayo Sushi, proud corporate sponsor of Isla Napali's organic rice farm, is happy to announce that we serve 100% Isla Napali organic rice at all Isla Napali locations. Please also visit our information booth next to the farm to learn more about organic rice and how it can help feed the world. There's also a typo in here because that one, like doing typos, is making it real. And also this one over here is very nice. This was a bit of an idea that I really loved, and you know, realistically I think it works, but it's a stretch, you know. But did you know there are no planted trees on Isla Napali? All of the trees you see are natural, and the park has been built around them. Harry Cooper, CGO, the Chief Gardening Officer. That is so freaking cool. I love doing this, but there is even more and even better stuff. So let's move over here. Back then, I didn't have kids, by the way, and not even planned. But as you can see over here, this is something that goes all the way back to my 8-year-old me, when we've been to Disney World in Florida. And I don't know why exactly I think of this, but there was that huge fountain piece before entering one of the parks, and it was pretty hot, and I loved these fountains to run through there as a kid. So this is like a little bit of an area where kids can just play with the little fountain pieces. You know, parents can sit down for a second. And now, actually being a dad for already a couple of years, that actually shows me how genius these things are. You just need a break. Your kids are pretty much doing something very useful while we have to wait for the autosave. I thought to cut it out, but you know guys, I'm gonna use this moment of choppy images to remember the autosave. I even have a t-shirt on my merch shop that actually has these 3 dots that appear once the autosave is doing with, and this is the funny part, with like hooves up for the autosave, because at some point in Planet Coaster, when the parks used to become too big and too crowded, the autosave could actually cause some crashes once you're moving to mouse too much during the saving period. So there you go, save has been done. And yeah, I'm very happy that we survived this one, but this is the only one I leave in the video, just as because it's so much video. Look at that, there's the dive coaster just about to go down. We're going to see where this is going down, but before we do so, let me show you a bit of a more community trivia. Look at this, guys, look at this over here. And again, for those of you who have never played Planet Coaster, this also may be very surprising, because this looks like pretty much like a souvenir shop, doesn't it? It is obviously a fake souvenir shop, but now as we have an actual souvenir shop in Planet Zoo, you can see where this video is going. If you are clever, you basically know where this is going. So obviously these things are all Team TK pieces. Every t-shirt can be placed individually. Also, there's a little Rudi stuffy. Hopefully Woody, the creator of this one, is going to answer my DM on Discord, because I want to do something with this wonderful piece over here, but I need his help. So if anyone has contact still to Woody, or Woody, if you're watching the video, please check the Discord DMs. I need you, mate, okay? And also, one more trivia. Look at this t-shirt. This is obviously the wonderful Street Fox coffee. And Street Fox, the fox itself, is designed by a good friend of mine, who you all know. We got to know each other even through Planet Coaster, and he basically, SP Ridley, was the one who won the design contest of Street Foxy Fox, and Frontier ran a competition in the early alpha stages, and they had a competition that the winner of this contest will actually be the one who designs the mascot. And as you know, we have got Street Fox Coffee as an actual mascot in this game, and this is literally designed by SP Ridley. That is freaking awesome, isn't it? The reason why this park saved my channel is you. It's simple. It sounds so awkward, but it is you. It is the people watching my channel. Now you have to understand that 2018, YouTube was merely a small hobby for me. I haven't been at high subscriber accounts. I was at 8 or 9k subscribers, something around this. My channel basically was stuck at that time. If you have paid close attention to the little scrolling animation of my channel from 2018 back then, at the beginning of the video where I was going through there, if you have paid attention to the number of views, they were horrendous. Like, we were talking 300 to 800 views per video, and I already used to be way higher before. Planet Coaster was about to end, as I was just saying, and the biggest problem was there was nothing on the horizon. Planet Zoo was announced over a year later, so it wasn't not even close to the horizon. I wasn't really that much into City Skylines. I was completely out of Minecraft. There was not really that much of another game I was playing at that time, except some shooter games I was playing with my friends, which really didn't offered themselves to become a good thing of the channel, on the channel. And so my decision to quit was a relative easy one if it wasn't for you guys. And when I was sitting in the airplane back to Germany, having had almost 6 or 7 weeks not done a single bit for my YouTube channel, and to be fairly honest, a big portion of that time I wasn't even thinking about this. I was enjoying my honeymoon and my wedding, and it was a good time. It was a beautiful time. I also figured that it is a good moment to think about if I really need that. And this was the moment where I figured it's not even a hobby anymore. It is more than a hobby. I need that to calm down. I need that to put my inspiration in here, and I learned things from it. But I also knew that I couldn't continue the way I was. And so I decided for myself, I need a radical change, and I wanted to have you guys more involved in it. And Isla Napali is basically the most community-driven park we made. I remember countless live streams in which we were discussing, for example, about this hotel. This hotel, let alone, is... Again, if you've seen one of my latest videos, look at the toucan over here, by the way, one of the latest videos about Planet Zoo where I did like all the steps just to create that stop motion. This is basically the foundation of all that shenanigans. We spent so many hours doing unnecessary stuff to make this a story for ourselves and for us. And this hotel is one of those things. Like, as you can see, there's like a little toucan over here with more than, like, the next part of the video is going to show you all of these examples, and I can't wait to show them to you. Now, this hotel over here has so many things that were basically a good idea about all of this, and also sparked so much inspiration. Now, we have like a spawner hidden in here from people spawn in the hotel, but there's actually a hotel in here. As you know, this game has features hotels. We also have like a, look at that, there's a little parrot sitting over here. There are some books on the shelf with the history of Planet Coaster. That is so cool. And on the screen, there is one of the first screenshots of Planet Coaster that features the cinematic teaser, which I also remade and was one of my most successful videos at that time. And for this bit, we have to go over to Old Kalawa Town. This is on the opposite side of the island, which I'm going to show you in a later flyover. We have a little band area, and this is specifically dedicated to It's Pure Cold Music. This guy, he was so nice. He reached out to me. He's a genius musician. He's amazing, and he grew tremendously since then, which I'm so grateful for him, and I really wish him all the best in the future. He was a viewer of this project at the very beginning, and he reached out to me, and I couldn't even believe he meant this seriously. And he composed the Isla Napali intro song that was featured on so many videos for this specifically, and I was like going back and forth with him. And maybe in the future, if you're listening, mate, if you're watching this video out of nostalgia, please hit me, put me a DM. Maybe we may do something for, well, and this is the point, guys, a potential Planet Coaster 2. Obviously, I'm doing this a little bit in preparation of Planet Coaster 2. Also, speaking about Easter eggs, I remember that there's one in here. Let me see. There was like, yeah, there you go. Take a Coke Live, because no one does. We had this, I don't know who made this, but this was like, this bottle just coincidentally looked like this Coke Live. And if you don't remember, well, that's great, because you better shouldn't. Also, the classic, sneakers that every musician in the world has. No, that is such a wonderful little Easter egg over here. Simply because back in these days, Coke Live was actually a thing. I think by now it doesn't exist anymore, but they used, like, instead of sugar, they were using stevia or so. I believe that Coke Zero was basically taking that product and, putting that to grave. But yeah, so this is the music area in Old Kalawa Town on the opposite side. There's also, in preparation for Planet Zoo, this is so funny actually. Oops, oh my god, do I get down here? There you go. We also have some butterfly VFX, and I created this little vivarium in order to build this, and it kind of gives me vibes thinking about this, that only 2 years later, or like actually this was to the very end, maybe a year later, we got Planet Zoo, and which actually brought some small exhibits that did basically the same. I cannot. But yeah, it is time, guys, to do a bit of a different thing. Oh, look at the kids here on the bench. Yeah, I still believe that this is one of the best parks I've ever done in any game. But I need to show you one more Easter egg. Let me just jump over here. Oh, and it's not really an Easter egg, but something very cool about this TMTK was also that you could do something like that. Look at that. We've got some fish in here that actually swim around. Look at that. Little fishies in the pond. Obviously, these are also TMTK pieces because they can also be animated. People figured out a lot of stuff in these early days of the TMTK, and I still see a lot of people using it, which I absolutely love. Now, I will actually bring two wonderful, or maybe even three, I don't know, maybe three wonderful POVs now of the three main coasters of this park, in which we can quickly talk about a couple of little things related to this island, and then we will see each other one more time with a bit of a flyover, which is going to give you the segue into why I made this video, what my final thought is, and why I'm still so thankful for this series, and what this shall give us and show us and tell us for the future, because there's literally a lot that it should tell us for the future. Now, before talking about the future of Planet Zoo, I must have a little shout out here for Sylph and Aston Wolf and all the other people who contributed to this park. But it was so good to have them on board. Sylv built this very coaster over here, the dive coaster, and I did the theming around. Having him on the project was really cool. He taught me a lot about theme parks. His enthusiasm is just on another level, and I cannot wait to see what Sylv is doing when a potential Planet Coaster 2 is appearing out there. I really cannot. His channel blew out like crazy when this game was announced, and fully deserved. He's already been such a huge inspiration in the roller coaster tech in 3 days. But yeah, so this is why this coaster over here is the perfect example why this project was so good. It brought me back into communities. It brought me back into cooperating with people. It brought me back into being creative again and challenging myself by having this coaster, for example, built by Sylv, and I needed to do something around here. Now, this has all been so good. And I think specifically all the things that you can do in this game with like timed elements and water fountains, and you even have like the timer. You can set events during the roller coasters. For example, we are going to go through a splashdown that you can see peeking to the left top now in a second, and you could even time the effects popping up and so on. We had like animatronics that you could time, and all these things will be very vital for a second part too. In that sense, this game was a lot more creative than Planet Zoo was, because there's literally so much more you could do with these things. Planet Zoo is in a different way, you know, creative, but this game over here has its strengths in all the way you build a theme park with all the animatronics and things moving, and just the atmosphere in this game is ridiculously great. But yeah, lifting up the hill is just how this entire thing lifted up my channel, my mood, and my passion for this game and this channel again. I will take this last couple of seconds before we're back in the station to say, and this is a good spot because it's in the middle of the video, I will not be and will never be a Planet Zoo / Coaster only channel. I've never been a Planet Coaster only channel, I've never been a Planet Zoo only channel, and I will not be a Planet Coaster 2 only channel, so don't fear this at all. It's gonna be a creative builder channel forever. But we need projects like this, like Isla Napali, that save my channel for longer. And I'm so thankful that this exists. I'm so thankful for Sylv building in here and all the other ones too. Alright, let's go into this last coaster of the POV section. And this is the wooden coaster, which is a very standard classic wooden coaster. And in the history of our park, this used to be the first things that have been built. And it's a wonderful little coaster. I love it. There are still some Easter eggs around here we are going to talk about in the next part of the video. But building this coaster was so much fun, because that was when I was already getting so much better at coaster building, thanks to Sylv. But also thanks to using this game a lot more to train building better coasters. It made me a better coaster builder indeed. I love this coaster to bits. It's the perfect mixture of thrill and family coaster. It's like you wouldn't go on it with the very smallest, but as soon as they're like a bit bigger, you'd easily take them on here and enjoy this wonderful ride, meandering through this island of Napali, and yeah, just having a wonderful time going around this last corner with a decent speed actually into the brake run. And again, very realistic over here, a lot of things that you can see and explore. Great, so just as we are off the wooden coaster, which you can see going over here, we need to talk about this area a bit, because in the building phase, in how we built this on the channel, this is rather late in the build. But in the history of Napali, Isla Napali, this is the beginning, you know. This harbor over there, which we're going to tackle in the next step of the video. Also, you can see some dolphins flying in the background, jumping out of the water. This part of the park is basically the mandatory thing to see, because we have this very old log flume over here, a very neat one, very standardish, nothing too crazy. And then we have this one over here, the desalination or salination, forgot how to pronounce that one, plant that is actually used to bring all the fresh water to the island, because obviously you wouldn't have all the fresh water in the world because you're literally in the middle of the sea, and you have to think about all these things. Well, I can't even remember how many hours we talked about delivery issues and stuff, because I experienced the same on Hawaii. How many things are so expensive over there, because literally there is like 6 hours around, there's no other land, so 6 hours at least for by plane, and don't even get me started about ships, you know. So obviously these goods that are not produced on the island themselves are super expensive, and talking about, you know, everything else, you need to do that on the island. But also you can see we these things were built in this game, and this game doesn't even have like literal energy management, but we did this for the sake of having it. So there is like a little solar plantage, so that we also have like not only generators or maybe gas or whatever, but we also have like solar energy for our area, and they look familiar, don't they? So yeah, obviously they are kind of little blocks. I just still love how this is. Speaking about this, we can also figure this is like a little backstage area. And the fun bit is there's actually a car going. Look, there's like a backstage car going through here. And there's like actually I think, don't do a drinking game with me saying actually in this video. But this one is literally going through here, through all the backstage areas, up the very end of the harbor area. So there's even a lot of thought that went into planning the whole layout, and we changed it so many times in order to do it right. And then over here we've got the go-karts track, which for me personally is one of my favorites. This moved. It used to be, let me just show you. It used to be located, well, somewhere over here. But then we figured it would be better to put this to the very beginning of the storyline and on the other side of the harbor. And this harbor over here, my friends, this is the second harbor we built, and it's so much better than the first one. This is there where the big deliveries would have been. It's a bit more hidden away. There's a second entrance to the area, and this is where the stuff area is, and this is where most of the Easter eggs come in. And oh god, I remember, this is, oh god, it's so good being in here. It brings all the memories back. Like even we have this car over here, and there's again one of the billboards again used on here. And then we have this other side entrance, the Napali Harbor Co. Welcome to Isla Napali, wonderful sign bringing the people in. And this is where the staff is living. So we have like a basic staff area in the background. As I said, this is where the vehicle starts from. It's like a little inn. You know, usually they wouldn't stay on this island. They would go to another Hawaiian island where they would work and live or whatever. But obviously if they need to stay overnight because they have like a bit longer shift or so, they can stay in these rooms. And if you have a look, there's like, this is like the little area where they can sit. And then over here we have got something to sit down for them on the balcony. There's like a little cards play on here. We have like a Street Fox coffee vending machine for them. Obviously you need coffee, you know. There's like one card game that is left over. But if you go here, this is where they used to play some basketball, you know. And then you can even see there's another little toucan. And this one's even grabbing like a little drink. It knocked over the plant over here. There's even some dirt coming out of the plant, and you can see there's like a basketball, but there's also basketball in the trees, you know, because people literally can't hit the wrong. There's also no net anymore around the hoop. It's also gone, and there's like a bit of a you know, there's like a little newspaper down here. News. It's, guys, it is absolutely ridiculous. I remember how much fun that was. And then obviously I needed to integrate a little knockoff to the Jurassic Vault that you also have seen in this video at the beginning. This is a kind of a little bit of a copy paste, but I thought that was a good idea to bring it in. We've got an entrance area for the helicopter because obviously we were talking a long time about like having actually airplane strip, you know, for them to land, but we figured this is way too small of an island to fiddle that in, and so we ended up with this heli landing pad because obviously if there is someone having an issue with health or so, this is the easiest and fastest way to bring them over. And just to show you how much effort has been put in there, there's even a tunnel connection. If I go over here, there's the backstage tunnel that goes in here, and this tunnel ends up in the hotel area on this hand side. So it ends up on this side over here, and it is connected via, oops, where is the mouse? It's gone. Via the mouse over, via the tunnel over here. So there's also a bit more of a shortcut for them in an emergency situation. So there's really not that much more to show, except one more thing before we talk about the conclusion of this insane park that changed my channel and my life effectively, and why exactly my life we will talk about in the conclusion too. But yeah, let's first of all do one more thing. So this is the bestest terraforming I've done in Planet Coaster. This is obviously a direct copy from the Napali coast, which is the name-giving coast of this project. I wanted to use this little moment to really say that once again. I've never been so overwhelmed in my life. We took a helicopter flight first before we did a boats tour a couple days later again around the island, and Oh my god, I still, like, even thinking of it makes me go goosebump like crazy. This is, you can't even believe the lighting, the memories, because so many movies have been filmed over there, like Jurassic Park, the Pirates of the Caribbean, and so on and so forth. Insane. And building in here always brought me back to this very space and very place. So that is absolutely enormous, and it deserves a very, 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 very special place in my heart and in my YouTube career, so to say. And this is the point. Let's talk about my YouTube career. My thoughts about Planet Coaster 2, why this project may actually be so important to what we can expect, and also why I think that we have a huge impact on Frontier, and also why I think we are at a very, very similar moment in time that we have been when Planet Coaster 1 launched. But give me a second, I'm gonna explain. So the answer to why this park changed my life, actually, and why this isn't even clickbait, it's literally true, is because this park saved my YouTube channel. I was about to end this, and I'm not exaggerating or anything. I had everything planned, the video was recorded, I was about to end my YouTube. And at this point, there was also no reason to kind of, grab too much on, hold too much onto it, but you guys made me have a reason with this project, and this project changed so much of my opinion about YouTube, doing this stuff. This project made me confident enough to talk about my YouTube channel in public. I always tried to hide that before, but this project made me realize how much I can give people joy in building this project. And even if the views of this project for a long time weren't even that great, and still to this date aren't that great, but it didn't matter at the time. And I think this is the moment where it sparks. This is the moment where you connect very nicely with your community. For me personally, literally the feeling that I feel connected to the community was giving me so much joy and so much passion and so much power to continue, that we were in the absolute perfect position for when Planet Zoo was announced. And this is why we now need to talk about what happens if Planet Coaster 2 is going to be announced in hopefully a couple of weeks. Okay, maybe you can't hear that anymore, and maybe you can't hear me speaking about this anymore, but I truly believe that Planet Coaster is going to be announced this year. And for the sake of what I'm saying in the next couple of minutes, let's just assume that Planet Coaster 2 is going to be the game that is being announced for this year's CMS game. Back in 2016, when Frontier released the alpha version of Planet Coaster, that was their biggest shot in a new area. That was the foundation of the Planet game. They basically destroyed Atari and what was ever left of the brand of Roller Coaster Tycoon that Frontier helped making big. But it was time to found a new situation. And Frontier back in the day have been amazing at communicating with the community. That is what they used to be good at. It's hard to believe nowadays, but they did a fantastic job in connecting to the community. And there is so many things in this game, in Planet Coaster, that have been done solely because of us, because of the creators and the community giving feedback to so many things. There is this wonderful gizmo we hate and love, but this was brought into the game because Sylph and me, they literally said that to us because we were doing the weirdest stuff with you don't even need to understand how it worked before, but it was a nightmare. And they were looking at that and felt the same pain as us, so they brought in the gizmo, which has been improved over all the years. They literally changed a lot about the coasters due to Sylph being very vocal about it, let's put it that way. And they changed a lot about this due to me because of being very vocal about other topics, for example. And I genuinely hope that Frontier is going to be the same again by doing the exact same for Planet Coaster 2. Please listen to what the community has to say and what they love the most. Hopefully they're doing a longer beta or maybe even an alpha during this year. And hopefully they are going to learn from the mistakes that were basically, for example, Colossal Order did with Cities Skylines 2. Hopefully they learned. And hopefully this game is becoming the game we all deserve and that Frontier frankly deserves. I truly believe they deserve the great Planet Coaster game. I really think Planet Coaster for the time being was a fantastic, complete game. Yeah, the performance kind of isn't great. Yeah, there's a lot to not like about the game. Yeah, the coaster builder needs work, blah, blah, blah. I know, but for the time being, it is and I say it now out loud, I cannot believe, it was a better game at the end than Planet Zoo is. It is more complete, and it is maybe even more refined. But Planet Zoo, on the other level, showed how much more there is in this engine and in this company that they can do with it for a theme park management game. And please let the new game be Planet Coaster 2, and please let it benefit from all we've gotten into Planet Zoo and what we've gotten thanks to the community in Planet Coaster. Because I think Frontier is at a very, very similar situation that I've been when I decided to not stop my YouTube channel and actually just do a refresh. Because sometimes it's just very important to look at things from a different perspective. And then you figure what would have been if you didn't do it the way you did it before. This is exactly what I did in 2018. When I was going on honeymoon, I was given the chance to look at my channel from a different perspective. The perspective of someone who is in a completely different set, environment, and so on. And I truly hope that Frontier has done the same with the refocus on their company. That Frontier Unlock was a great first moment that I really dearly hope that shows the right direction. And I hope that this is gonna go the same direction that my channel did. A couple of months after I launched Isla Napali, Planet Zoo was announced, and my channel from there on always grew and grew and grew and grew. And here I am, maybe touching the 100k this year. Depends a little bit on what Frontier is doing and if they, well, have their Rudi moment, I should say. So all I can say now is thank you. Thank you, Isan Napali. Thank you, my community, to all of you, every single one of you, for helping me getting through this phase back then and helping me becoming the YouTuber I'm right now and doing over 1,000 videos more after this. 1,000 videos that hopefully made your time and your life and your weekends, your evenings, your mornings, your holidays and your sad times better and more joyful. And well, actually, hopefully, just in general, a time that you feel like is well spent. And thank you, Isla Napali, for being such a wonderful park, making me learn so much about theme parks, the realism, and everything else that is needed to build a great park in general that I could then translate into Planet Zoo. Because without Planet Coaster, without Isla Napali, there wasn't going to be a Yosemite Valley, there wasn't going to be Zoo Sicily, and there wasn't going to be any of the weirdest ideas I have done. Absurd realism has not been invented in the latest builds, my friends. Absurd realism and community shenanigans has been invented, on this channel at least, on Isla Napali. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this video going through this history lesson of my channel. And I'll leave you now with a big, big and warm thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching the stuff I do. Thank you for sharing my passion. And I talk to you in the next one. Goodbye and have a wonderful time. Thank you.